Hi folks, this is Manoj here and I'm a data scientist. So today's topic of discussion would be on two of the very most popularly used IDEs, that is the integrated development environmental tools, that is Pycharm as well as Jupyter Notebook. Of course, many might have been very familiar with both these IDEs, and there's a lot of hype in the media stating that some of them have portrayed Pycharm to be the superior and some of them have stated Jupyter Notebook is the best, right? Of course, it's a individual's opinion that matters over there, and let's see what Python offers and what Jupyter Notebook offers, so that which can be made in very handy for a, let's say, for a beginner, right? Someone who's making a career transition to the field of machine learning, AI, and data science. So, which ID should they opt? He or she should opt so as to make the learning on beginning of their career very linear and smooth. Right. So let's get started with that part. Now we have Pycharm as well as the Jupyter. Pycharm is an IDE that is developed by JetBrains. So JetBrains is an organization that has developed this Pycharm, and this Pycharm IDE is created especially for Python programming itself. Okay. Whereas in case of Jupyter Jupyter Notebook is an open source IDE that is used to create some of the Jupyter documents. So, wherein this is a web based application. Okay, you can create a Jupyter documents, and you can share all the files that you have created with the live codes. So, coming to the PyCharm is a smart code editor. So, what is this smart code editor basically means? Let's say, for example, the user interface of PyCharm is going to dynamically get changed. If you're giving some of the, uh, okay, I'll just give you an instance, for example. Now, if you want to define a function, okay, so you're going to write the keyword def and the function name. So what it is going to do is it is going to automatically change some of the colors, okay, and it is going to suggest you, okay, so this is the variable you have declared over here, so you can use this variable itself. So all these kind of smart code editing system are being provided by the PyCharm. Whereas in case of Jupyter, it is a web-based application. Okay, so Jupyter Notebook is a web-based interactive computing platform. So when you run the Jupyter Notebook, it is basically going to get launched in one of the browser. Okay, cool. So coming to the PyCharm again, PyCharm provides smart auto completion. Now, if you have declared some of the variables earlier itself and you're partially typing them, the PyCharm ID is going to suggest or auto suggest it, and it is going to auto complete it for you. It is making your work much lesser. Okay. Whereas in case of Jupyter Notebook provides inline code execution using blocks. Okay. So what happens here is, so Jupyter Notebook provides inline code execution using blocks. So the blocks here is referring to something called as cells in the Jupyter Notebook. Okay. So what happens in case of PyCharm is you need to write the whole snippet of code in order to execute it. Okay. Once you are done with the completion of the complete snippet of code, then only you can execute that code. But in case of Jupyter Notebook, you need not have to worry about that. You can simply take every individual line of snippet and you can execute it. It is going to give you that amount of flexibility. Okay. So coming to PyCharm back again. So PyCharm provides intelligent code analysis. So what happens here is if there is some sort of redundancy in your code, eh, let's say if you're writing multiple set of lines again and again, PyCharm is going to assist you that I think you're doing it, repeating this set of patterns. You can simply make a function for this and you can alter it. So all the code analysis and some of the optimization kind of thing are being suggested by your PyCharm itself. And your Jupyter Notebook provides inline graphing support. So when you want to visualize some of the data using libraries like Matplotlib or C1, right? So Jupyter Notebook provides you that amount of flexibility wherein it is going to provide the user inline graphic support. So you can simply plot the graphs, or you can simply visualize whatever you want to give the plot. Let's say you want to give a scatter plot, bar plot, pie chart, so on and so forth. Right? Everything you can do it at a single line. You can execute and you can obtain those figures in the Jupyter notebook on instant itself. Okay. Apart from them, PyCharm, it's not actually as flexible as when compared to the Jupyter notebook. Because remember, PyCharm, for execution of any code, you need to write the complete snippet of code for this. But in case of Jupyter, you need not have to do that. It is quite very flexible. You can just cut and paste the small snippet of code that you want to try out. Let's say something is throwing an error, right? Some code is throwing an error. What happens in case of PyCharm? You need to go through the complete code, make some sort of alter there. But in case of Jupyter, so whichever line is going to give you the error, whichever is throwing you the error, you can just simply modify at that instance itself. Okay, so that is the amount of flexibility that is being provided by the Jupyter notebook over here. Coming back to the PyCharm itself, tools like Python, Django, Anaconda, Time, Kite. So all these are some of the frameworks and very informative tools. All these are integrated with PyCharm itself. So all these are, it's something like built in. So these are all integrated with the PyCharm initially itself. Again, there are some of the other tools that are being also integrated and supported by the Jupyter. So some of the tools are like GitHub, Python, Dropbox, Scala, TensorFlow. So TensorFlow is a library that is used extensively for deep learning, right? So again, there are multiple such integrated tools that are being provided by the Jupyter notebook itself. Okay. So PyCharm is available in two versions. So first one is the community edition. The second one is the professional edition. Whereas Jupyter notebook is actually an open source tool and it is free to use. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you.